Okay, welcome back, everyone. December 3rd, 2024, it is our public hearing committee meeting. And a quick reminder, all meetings are web streamed and televised, so please ensure your phones are on silent. If we have any guests joining us virtually, please keep yourself muted and use your Microsoft Teams hand raise feature to be called upon and remove it when you're finished. I now call December 3rd, 2024 public hearing committee meeting to order. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest today? Seeing none. Motion to adopt the agenda as presented, please. Councillor Vanden Driesch, seconded by Councillor Micheli. All in favor? Carried. I now officially open the public meetings held under the Municipal Act, the Planning Act, and County Policy. Please be advised that under the Ontario Planning Act as amended by the province, only specified persons and public bodies as defined in the Planning Act may appeal a decision of Norfolk County or to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Third parties or anyone who is not specified persons or public body do not have the right to appeal a decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, to preserve the ability to be a party to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal, third parties or general members of the public are required to make a written comment or provide a written submission. These meetings are hosted here today to allow oral and written comments as input to the decisions on specific development applications. And the first item before committee is item 4.1, report CS 24-172, and I believe that's over to Mr. Wallace. No. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor Martin and members of committee. Report CS 24-172 is being presented to the Public Hearings Committee for information purposes to allow the public an opportunity to express concerns, comments, objections, or support with regards to the request by the applicants for the permanent closure and conveyance of the unopened portions of part Wellington Street and part Erie Street, Plan 17B, Woodhouse, adjacent to their property. The report provides the nature of the request by the applicants, along with additional related details. Realty staff did not receive any public input with regards to the proposed closure. A further report will be presented to Council at a later date for the purposes of a decision. Staff are here today to hear from the public and to answer any questions Council members and the public may have related to the requested road closure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions from committee on this report? Councillor Columbus.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It took me a while to really figure out where this property is, and I found out later it's at Port Ryerson, looking at the map only. But the question I had was, what's our circulation with respect to an application like this? Is it 400 feet, or how far do we circulate notices?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Martin, to Councillor Columbus. Our policy currently does not contain any circulation notices. With a road closure and conveyance, any portion of the road closure or the unopened road allowance that connects to or is adjacent to a property owner, we reach out to those property owners to give them the opportunity to purchase their portion. It appears that these portions are completely landlocked by the applicant's property, therefore no other property owners were advised in this process.
Any other questions from committee members? Okay, is there anyone here in Norfolk County that wishes to speak to this report in chambers? You might as well. Well, come on up. There's a microphone right here. We'll get you to state your name and address for the public record if you don't mind, and then we'll give you 5 minutes. Name and address for the public record, and then take it away.
Okay, my name is Richard Brooks Snow. I go by Brook, 12 Fold Road, Port Ryerson. My wife and I are the property owners. I've been involved with others to help me with this, and we've had lawyers, and we've done surveys, and we've done road closures, and we've gone on and on and on, and we've actually spent over the last, since 1980s, we spent a lot of money trying to make sense of all the chaos on the land in Port Ryerson. In my research, I came up with my deed of land, and it's got 2 schedules on the deed of land. in Schedule A, it clearly indicates, in my understanding of the writing, and, you know, it gets pretty complicated as far as north 59 degrees, 21 minutes, on and on and on from this and that, but it says in this Schedule A, part of Norfolk County 17B and portion of the, though it shows a portion of the non-opened street known as Erie Street, which I've got a survey. I don't know if you have a copy of that. There's only one little part of Erie Street, which is the questionable piece, one of the questionable parcels for us right now. And it's the only thing I can see that would be in question, and it shows on our deed that we own it. Schedule B, I've got copies if anybody wants them. It also says, through all the garble, if you will, in Plan 17B, there's a portion of the unopened street known as Wellington Street. So it shows in the title we got in 1986 when we bought the land, which we call the home property. It shows that we actually own that already. So, you know, I don't have to go through all my notes, but again, I'm not an expert in all these things, and I've worked with Jewett and Dixon. I've had meetings. I've got a 2019 survey. I've got I think it's a 2007 survey. We also later on in our time in Port Ryerson, we were lucky enough to purchase a piece of land which is across the right-of-way. There's a right-of-way now called Fode Road for 911. We purchased some land across on the north side, which was from George and Francis Smith. In that land, we severed it. It shows clearly on a map that I have a copy of from the city of Nanticoke. It's known as map number 4, file A-16/96-CN, former municipality Woodhouse. It clearly shows what we call our home property, the original property purchased in 1986, and it shows the land we purchased from George and Francis Smith in 96, I think. And in that map supplied by City Nanticoke, it shows Wellington Street ends at the north side of the right-of-way, Fode Road. It doesn't show it continuing down through, again, on the south side of our property, which we call the home property, at all. And it's the south side that seems to be the cloudy area that we can't figure out who has the title to. We own all the way around it except on the section that is tied in with Lake Erie.
Just about 1 minute remaining, and then
Okay.
there is some time in questions and answers.
Okay. And one of the, through one of the meetings with our legal team, it was mentioned to us that because it's on the waterfront, Norfolk County, the questionable pieces, Norfolk County has, they want to be sure the Ministry of Natural Resources doesn't have any connection or need or anything. So I also have a letter from them stating that, they have no interest in that parcel of land. It means nothing to them either. So, I've got a lot of supporting documents. We've spent a ton of money trying to figure this all out over many years, and we've never really been able to uncloudy the situation. So,
Okay, that's great. Thank you for coming and sharing that with us. Are there any questions from committee members through to Mr. Snow? And have you provided your documentation to our staff?
I think Linda has, Crandon.
Okay,
But if not, I can certainly give copies of whatever you'd like. I've got several surveys. I've got the map from the city of Nanticoke. I've got my original transfer of land.
Yeah, that would, I think, be beneficial. And today, we won't make any decisions. We'll just learn about this and give you the opportunity to speak, and then all of it can get put back into a future staff report that will come before council for final decisions. So whatever you have, if we can get that through to staff, that would be beneficial.
How do I do that?
We'll get you connected with Kelly before you leave behind you today, and then
Thank you.
thank you for coming. Okay, is there anyone on the line who wishes to speak to this report? All right. Any committee member wish to move? Councillor Van Passen.
Yes, thanks, Madam Mayor. When I was getting my suit on today, I was going to flip my City of Nanticoke pin on the collar because there's 2 items on the agenda that I dealt with in a past life, and this happens to be one of them. And I do believe that this was just an error made, whether a lawyer missed something, whether it was when it changed the electronic registry, because I think the members of council probably know me well enough already that I wouldn't have left a little landlocked remnant parcel in the middle of nowhere when we closed the entirety of Wellington Street. And so I think it just got missed. So I have no problems with the application. I think we're trying to undo an error. But saying that, I would hope that there's no attempt on behalf of the county that we charge them money for this one. If they could accept paying legal bills and surveys and all of that, I'd hate to have to sell it to them when they probably shouldn't have to pay for it. Right? So I hope staff will consider that when they bring the report, that let's just get the paperwork done, undo an error from 25 years ago and get it right, and let's get the books cleaned up. So.
Okay, thanks for those comments, and staff will take that in consideration for their future staff report. So with that, can someone please move and second the recommendation, which is on the screen before you, that report? Councillor Huffman moves CS 24-172, proposed closure and conveyance of part Wellington Street and part Erie Street Plan 17B Woodhouse, Norfolk County be received as information, and further that any comments received as part of the public hearing committee meeting, in addition to those already received, be considered in a future recommendation staff report. Seconded by Councillor Van Passen. All in favor? That's carried. Thanks for joining today. We'll get you connected with staff, and there will be a future council meeting. Thank you. Okay, the second item on the agenda for us is item 4.2, staff report CS 24-169.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor, to members of committee. Report CS 24-169 is another road closure and conveyance proposal being presented to the Public Hearings Committee, again for information purposes, to allow the public an opportunity to express concerns, comments, objections, or support. This is with regards to part road allowance between lots 6 and 7, concession 9 Townsend. Again, Realty staff did not receive any public input with regards to the proposed closure. A further report will be presented to council at a later date for the purposes of a decision. Staff are here today to hear from the public and to answer any questions council members and the public may have related to the requested closure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there questions from committee members? Is anyone in attendance that wishes to speak to this? Anyone on the line that wishes to speak? Okay, would someone of committee like to move the staff recommendation on the screen before you? Councillor Van Passen?
This is the other one I remember well. It went through a nasty expropriation process to get the road lined up better. Tried at the time to see if the neighbors wanted that little part, and nobody did then, but they do now, so I'd be happy to move the report.
Okay, moved by Councillor Van Passen. I think that was seconded by Councillor Columbus. That report CS 24-169, proposed closure and conveyance of part road allowance between lots 6 and 7, concession 9 Townsend, Norfolk County, be received as information, and further that any comments received as part of the public hearing committee meeting, in addition to those already received, be considered in a future recommendation staff report. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And the last item is item 4.3, Mr. Wallace, CD 24-163.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you. The land referred to as 14 Oaks Boulevard is a municipally owned lot located within the hamlet OP designation of Victoria and is currently zoned open space. The lot has an area of 0.45 hectares. Applicants seek a zoning bylaw amendment to allow for the lot currently zoned open space to be changed to hamlet residential. The RH zoning provisions would allow for a single detached dwelling, bed and breakfast, daycare, home industry, home occupation, and/or ARDU. The lot meets the zoning provisions for lot area and does not require any special provisions. This is considered a downzoning, which would align the zoning with the official plan designation for the lot. The subject lands are roughly rectangular in shape and are located on the north side of Oaks Boulevard, opposite a park and community institutional zone within the Hamlet OP boundary. The site is undeveloped and has been used as an extension to the park to the south. The surrounding properties beyond the community institutional lands to the south are zoned hamlet residential or agriculture. As previously noted, it's proposed to change the use of this land from open space to hamlet residential in preparation for its eventual sale as part of the county lands review, which was presented to council and committee on April 9th of this year. Technical comments received prior to submission of the report to clerks have been provided and are contained within attachment C of your report back. And as well, in attachment D of your report pack, no comments have been received. Staff can confirm that up to this point, no public comments have been received since the publication of the report. Consideration at this time can be given to the need for the creation of infill lots to allow further residential development within the hamlet boundary. The lot size is adequate for a single dwelling, but it is likely, given the size of surrounding residential lots, that the lot could in future be severed to form two lots with appropriate minor variances. To conclude, the proposal is for a zoning bylaw amendment to allow the change of use of the land from open space to hamlet residential. Staff recommend that staff report CD 24-163 for development application ZNPL 2024176 be received for information, and that any comments received at this meeting shall be, one moment, sorry, we're dealing with ZNPL 20243H2, apologies for that, at this meeting shall be considered in the future recommendation staff report. It should be noted that whilst this proposal is considered a minor zoning amendment and could be delegated to staff for final decision, as this is a municipally initiated application, it is considered best to bring a recommendation report back to council for final decision. Thank you, and I'm here if there's any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there questions from committee? Councillor Brunton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The question I have, you mentioned could be two lots. There we go. Wrong button. You mentioned in your report, you said it could become two lots. That's adequate size for two lots if it was severed?
If it were severed, it is potentially adequate. It would have to be evaluated, and it would require minor variances for both lots.
Oh, would it?
Because the existing lot is 0.45 hectares currently, and the minimum zoning provision for hamlet residential is 0.4. So it's only 0.05 above what it needs to be as a single lot.
Okay.
Once you split that in half, we would have to assess whether or not it's, and along with development engineering, drainage, everyone else, through hydrogeo studies, things like this, that it is actually adequate for private servicing capacities on reduced size lots. But there are similar size lots to the west of this site that are not significantly larger than half of this lot.
So, and everything there is wells and septics, I take, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Michelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to staff. So, Andrew, then that possibility that Councillor Brunton is just explaining, will that be part of the staff report that's going to come before council?
I think I better hand this over to Heidi to address. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to committee. I will be happy to answer this question on behalf of the Corporate Services Realty team, who is acting as the applicant in this case. When putting this application forward, there was consideration to whether or not at this point in time the county as the applicant should consider 2 lots or bring the application forward for 1 lot. Should we go down the road of applying to sever it into 2 lots, it would have been a more involved planning application over and above the planning justification report that we secured from an outside consultant. There would have been additional studies required, such as a geotechnical study, and when considering the time, the extra time and the extra cost that would be involved in that type of more fulsome application, it was decided to bring this application forward to committee for 1 lot, and then should someone buy it and decide to do the more fulsome application, the more intense application afterwards to subdivide it into 2, the new owner could certainly do that. But it was decided that it would be best to bring forward the most time and cost efficient application that we could on behalf of the county at this point.
Thank you, Heidi.
Councillor Van Passen.
I think I might get in trouble for this, but it doesn't sound very good when the county won't even go through its own process because it's too time-consuming, too expensive, too onerous. Doesn't make us look in a good light when we won't even do our own stuff because we can't take the time and spend all the money to do it. So we need to fix that bigger picture, right?
So, Madam Mayor, I can certainly start, and then I can refer to Mr. Meneses to add on. As corporate services staff, we would have to procure outside consultants to do the more in-depth planning justification report and any additional studies that would have to take place. And so we made an assessment about the use of being efficient with the use of public funds to bring this forward in order to maximize the return on behalf of the county. So that was the assessment that was made at this point, and I would refer to Mr. Meneses to add on.
Thank you, Heidi, through you, Madam Chair. I would say that the assessment was made that I think the characterization that the process is too cumbersome is probably not accurate. I would say that a determination was made that the costs associated and the risks associated with having to go down a certain path, when you look at the revenue that would have been generated, 2 lots versus 1, would probably be in and about the same net that the county would net as a result of selling it. And the determination was made, let's just sell it as 1 lot for now and reap the benefits and carry on with the funds for other purposes versus delaying it for potentially a year to get all the studies done and everything that we would need to do and not necessarily net any more at the end of the day.
Okay. Is there someone who wishes to move the staff recommendation? Councillor Michelli, did I miss you?
No, Madam Mayor, if you're asking about the staff recommendation at this Ward 4 public hearings meeting, I will move that.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Is there anyone in the room or on the line that wishes to speak to this? Saved us a whole extra meeting there. Thank you. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone on the screen, so Councillor Michelli will move the staff recommendation, staff report CD 24-163 for development application ZNPL 2024-382 be received for information, and that any comments received as part of the statutory public meeting be considered in a future recommendation staff report. Seconded by Councillor Van Passen. All in favor? That is carried. And that brings us to an end of the Ward 4 public hearing meeting. If there's, all I need is Counselor Huffman to move for adjournment at 3:25 PM, seconded by Counselor Breton. All in favor? That's carried. Thanks, staff. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great afternoon.